On April 12, 2023, at a small gas station on a quiet street in Lakewood, Maria, a woman trying to fill up the tank of her old car, had no idea that a routine stop would soon turn into an unbelievable story. She only intended to stop for a few minutes to get gas, but what Maria didn't know was that while she fumbled with her wallet, trying to figure out how to pay, a police car had silently approached, marking the beginning of a tense situation where an ordinary gas stop quickly escalated into a confrontation with the law. Officer Johnson, a seasoned but notoriously rigid enforcer of the law, was a man of few words but filled with quick judgments. As he ran the license plate of the modestly worn-out sedan, his screen displayed the dreaded verdict, suspended. For Officer Johnson, this one word carried the weight of societal order collapsing, a serious violation of traffic regulations. With a swift flick of his hand, he activated the siren, though it sounded more like the wailing cry of a distressed junkyard alarm than the authoritative call of law enforcement. The blaring nose echoed through the quiet suburban street, startling pedestrians and squirrels alike. Maria, the unsuspecting driver, was in the middle of mentally calculating whether she could afford the premium gas station coffee when the sound behind her jolted her from her thoughts. Her heart skipped a beat, confusion and unease taking over. The flashing red and blue lights reflected ominously in her rearview mirror, casting streaks of panic inside her car. "What now?" she muttered under her breath, gripping the steering wheel as though it could provide answers. She carefully pulled over to the curb, her tires crunching on the loose gravel. Rolling down her window cautiously, Maria greeted the approaching officer with a thin veil of calm, masking the bubbling dread underneath. Little did she know, this was not going to be a simple conversation. This was the opening act in a dramatic, chaotic spiral that would transform a routine traffic stop into a spectacle of miscommunication, escalating emotions, and absurdity. "License and registration," Officer Johnson barked, his tone sharp and authoritative, cutting through the stillness of the gas station. His voice carried the practiced command of someone used to immediate compliance. Maria, caught mid-thought while mentally calculating how much gas her dwindling funds could afford, looked up in confusion. Her brow furrowed as she squinted at the officer, her mind racing to catch up. "Suspended," she muttered under her breath, the word hanging in the air like an accusation she didn't quite understand. Her voice, now tinged with disbelief, grew firmer. "I'm not suspended. I just sent out a check, I'm sure of it." Determined to prove her innocence, Maria dove into her purse, an overstuffed abyss of receipts, loose change, and mismatched essentials. Her fingers moved with the precision of a woman on a mission, or at least one who believed she knew exactly where everything was. Yet, her frantic rummaging betrayed her growing frustration. She was sure the paperwork was somewhere in there, but the purse seemed to conspire against her, offering everything except what she needed. Officer Johnson's patience, already wearing thin, evaporated like morning dew under a hot sun. "I need to see your ID," he repeated, his voice firmer this time, leaving no room for negotiation. His stance was a study in authority, feet planted, arms crossed, eyes unwavering. Maria, however, was not one to back down. She exhaled sharply, the heat of the interaction rising alongside her irritation. "I don't need to show you my ID," she snapped, her voice laced with defiance. "I'm calling my case manager to sort this out, you'll see, just wait." In one swift motion, she whipped out her phone, her movements carrying the practiced urgency of someone who had argued her way out of trouble before. Her fingers danced across the screen, dialing with the confidence of a woman who believed this call would put an end to the entire ordeal. To her, the phone was not just a device, it was a lifeline, her proof, her weapon in a battle she was determined to win. But to Officer Johnson, the phone represented something entirely different: resistance. His eyes narrowed as he watched Maria's every move, his frustration mounting with each second that passed without compliance. What should have been a simple traffic stop was quickly spiraling into something much more complicated. "You need to show me your ID," Officer Johnson repeated, his tone firm but betraying an undercurrent of frustration. The midday sun glinted off his badge, emphasizing the authority he carried, though his patience was visibly wearing thin. Maria, sitting rigidly in the driver's seat, clung to her phone like a shield, her knuckles white as she pressed it tightly to her ear. Her voice rose, tinged with defiance and desperation. "I don't need to show you anything. I'm handling this. My case manager will fix it, okay?" Just let me call them." Her words came out in bursts, a chaotic mix of resolve and panic, as though she believed invoking her case manager would magically dissolve the tension. The officer's jaw tightened, and his measured breathing betrayed the effort it took to keep his composure. Around them, the muffled sounds of the gas station vehicles rolling in, the hum of pumps, a distant car radio playing faint pop music seemed almost incongruous to the brewing storm. Then, like a taut thread stretched too far, Officer Johnson's patience snapped. His eyes narrowed, and his voice, once measured, now carried a sharper edge. "If you don't show me your ID, I will arrest you," he warned, his words hanging heavy in the air like an unavoidable storm cloud. The gravity of his threat was unmistakable, a final warning that punctuated the escalating tension. Maria stared back at him, her phone trembling slightly in her hand, as though debating whether to double down or comply. The standoff was electric, a collision of authority and resistance that had the bystanders at the gas station exchanging uneasy glances. Maria, now completely denying all accusations, let out a sarcastic laugh, her eyes flashing with defiance. "Arrest me? For what? For not showing you my ID?" Her voice rose with each word, every utterance fueling the fire of her mounting frustration. "You stopped me just for getting gas, and now you want to arrest me for no reason at all. This is ridiculous." She finished speaking with a dramatic gesture, raising her hand toward the sky as if to challenge the universe to side with her, or perhaps seeking some divine sign to prove her innocence. The gesture was not only an expression of helplessness, but also an attempt to take center stage in this confrontation, turning it into a performance where she was the main character. Around them, the space seemed to split between the quiet of the street and the rising tension between the two. The officer stood unmoved, his face impassive, his hand lightly resting on his belt, as though contemplating his next move. But Maria didn't stop there. "I can't believe this. Do you know what it's like for me to get by? Getting gas has become a crime now." Maria's words crashed like thunder on a clear day, not only escalating the tension, but also solidifying her resolve. But no matter how intense her emotions were, the situation showed no sign of cooling down, and the dark clouds seemed to be closing in on that small street, signaling an ominous outcome. "Get out of the car now," Officer Johnson ordered, his right hand gripping the taser, his left resting on his holstered gun, ready for any situation. But Maria was not the type to comply easily, especially when she was busy trying to reach the person she believed could fix everything. "No way I'm getting out of the car. I'm calling my case manager. You'll wait," she retorted, her gaze filled with defiance. The tension quickly escalated into a tug-of-war between power and will. The officer tried to pull her from the car, while Maria held tightly to the phone as though it were her only lifeline. "I can't get out of the car. I need the phone to prove my case," she shouted, her voice a mix of anger and desperation. Her hands flailed in the air, resisting every attempt from Johnson, except to comply. The scene was like an unintended comedy, with Maria fully immersed in this unequal battle, while the officer, both impatient and hesitant, contemplated taking more forceful action. The surrounding people, initially just curious spectators, now stood gathered in a small crowd, whispering, pointing, and some even recording the dramatic scene on their phones, turning it into a satirical performance about pride and the power system. "I'm homeless," Maria burst out, her voice trembling as tears began to stream down her face. The declaration hung in the air, heavy with desperation and defiance. To her, it felt like her ultimate trump card, a plea that would surely pierce through the rigid protocols of law enforcement and compel the officers to see her as a human being in need, not just a name on a citation. "I need help, not arresting," she continued, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. "My home is my car. My case manager is fixing this. Why won't you understand?" Officer Johnson paused, visibly thrown off by her outburst. His brows furrowed as he processed her words, his face caught between a flicker of sympathy and the unyielding resolve of someone bound by duty. "Ma'am," he began, his voice even but firm, "this is about a suspended plate, not your housing situation." But Maria was far from done. Her frustration surged like a dam breaking, and she launched into a torrent of words, her hands gesturing wildly to emphasize her plight. "You don't get it," she exclaimed, her voice rising. "This car is all I have. My only shelter, my only sanctuary." Her eyes darted around as if searching for some unseen ally to back her up. Suddenly, she flung the car door open with a dramatic flourish, standing tall like a wounded lioness, her posture both defiant and vulnerable. It was as though she were reclaiming her small piece of the world, a territory no one had the right to take from her. The officer took a reflexive step back, clearly uncertain how to handle this unpredictable display. For Maria, every word, every tear, and every gesture was a plea to be seen, to be understood not as a violator of the law but as a person barely holding her life together. However, for Officer Johnson, it was a situation spiraling further out of control, one that demanded not just a badge but a remarkable level of patience and restraint. At this point, the situation had escalated to a point where it was almost impossible to control. The cold cuffs quickly clicked shut around her wrists, marking the inevitable end of the prolonged argument. Maria, still restrained, continued to resist. She shouted in frustration, "I've been trying to give you the information from the start. Let me go. I just wanted to get gas." The officer nearby shook his head, a hint of fatigue on his face. "You've made this a lot more complicated than it needed to be," he responded, his tone betraying a mix of irritation and helplessness. Maria struggled, her eyes filled with anger and helplessness as she looked at the police car waiting. The distant siren seemed to amplify the tension of the situation. The onlookers, once curious spectators, now formed a small crowd, whispering, pointing, and many pulling out their phones to capture this dramatic spectacle. The tension of this moment was not only in the actions, but in the emotions. This was no longer a simple traffic stop. It had become an endless confrontation, where both sides felt like victims of a situation spiraling beyond control. In a moment of complete emotional breakdown, Maria shifted from a fierce defiance to a desperate plea. "I need to go to the bathroom," she said, her voice trembling like a child pleading with a parent, rather than an adult facing serious accusations. The strain in her voice was clear, as if this were the final breaking point in a chain of events that had pushed her to the brink of collapse. "I can't hold it anymore." Officer Johnson, still maintaining his cold demeanor, responded indifferently, "No, until we finish the paperwork." His firm tone made the air feel even heavier, as if Maria's desperation didn't shake him even slightly. Maria gasped for breath, looking around as if hoping for some spark of empathy, but the expressions of the other officers remained resolute and unsympathetic. To them, this was just another part of the daily grind, nothing special, nothing worth dwelling on. However, for Maria, it felt like the ultimate humiliation, as if the whole world was turning against her in this moment. With each passing second, her desperation became clear, not just about her physical needs, but about her complete loss of control over the current situation. This was no longer just a traffic stop, it had become a psychological battle, where both sides were trying to maintain their positions. Maria wasn't just asking for some humanity. She was desperately seeking a little autonomy, a right she felt had been entirely stripped from her. When Maria was pushed into the back seat of the police car, her waves of anxiety reached their peak. Emotions flooded her, and her voice rang out in despair like a cry for help in the heavy atmosphere. "I have nowhere else to go," Maria almost screamed, tears streaming down her cheeks. "What do you think I should do now? Walk? I live in that car. It's all I have left. You're taking away my only home." Maria's words weren't just about losing physical property. It was a deep, heartfelt plea, as if she was trying. The stark contrast between Maria's explosive emotions and the officer's indifferent attitude creates a scene that is both tragic and darkly humorous. It highlights the difference between the world of those struggling day by day and the rigid legal system, where rules and regulations often leave little room for empathy. In that moment, Maria was not only facing an officer, but a system that showed no regard for her personal story. The officer's cold remark, though legally correct, felt like a knife twisting in Maria's already broken self-esteem. It wasn't just the enforcement of the law. It was a symbol of the lack of understanding, the emotional distance between authority and the most vulnerable in society. Now handcuffed and forced to sit in the back of the police car, Maria struggled to catch her breath amidst the panic overwhelming her mind. The stifling feeling, the sensation that the world was collapsing around her, was almost too much to bear. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she hoarsely cried out, "Please, I need medical care. I can't breathe. I have severe anxiety. Please, you don't understand." Her every word, instead of awakening compassion, hit a cold, impenetrable wall of detached professionalism. Officer Johnson, his expression unchanged, coldly replied, "Calm down. You're making things worse for yourself." The atmosphere in the car grew more suffocating, not just from the impatience on both sides, but from the ironic contrast. A woman feeling as though the weight of the world was crushing her, and a police officer treating this as just another routine assignment. Maria, her heart filled with a faint hope for some miracle, felt trapped not just by the handcuffs but by the terrifying indifference of the system she was now facing. She tried to take deeper breaths, but each one felt choked by the desperation. "You don't understand." She shouted again, but her voice vanished into the small, cold space of the patrol car. Staring into the officer's expressionless eyes, she realized her pleading might not change anything. A sense of powerlessness overwhelmed her, and in that moment, time seemed to stretch endlessly. A sense of helplessness enveloped Maria, everything around her becoming dull and slow. This moment, it seemed, would never end. Each passing second felt like a century. In Maria's mind, time was no longer a continuous flow but a series of unpleasant, suffocating moments. The sounds around her became muffled, the screech of the handcuffs and the officers arguing a chaotic noise in her head, leaving no room for reason or hope. She had never imagined that such a simple decision, like filling up gas, could lead to such dire consequences. Sweat dotted her forehead, her heart raced, and all she could feel was tension, sheer exhaustion. The sense of powerlessness, of being unable to do anything but let it all spiral out of control, engulfed her like an unstoppable storm. As the charges were read aloud, driving under suspension, simple assault, and assault on a police officer, Maria couldn't help but feel the rise of despair and pain inside her. "You're innocent until proven guilty," the officer said, as though this was some consolation, a reassurance that changed nothing in the reality she was now facing. His words felt hollow, unable to ease the pain and disappointment in Maria's heart. The facts were clear. Everything had spiraled beyond her control, and now all that remained were heavy charges and an uncertain future. Maria sighed, her face a reflection of frustration and exhaustion. Her words, well, that escalated quickly, were a painful sardonic remark on how quickly her life had veered off course. She had simply intended to stop for gas, but now, everything was off kilter, and there was no way to go back. Her words were a way of confronting this harsh, unexpected reality and acceptance of the hopelessness, but also her attempt to hold on to some semblance of sanity in this unbelievable situation. As the police car drove away, taking Maria and the serious charges with it, she couldn't help but reflect on everything that had happened. A routine stop, meant only to fill up on gas, had morphed into an unforeseeable chain of events that had completely altered her life in the blink of an eye. The sense of helplessness and the tension Maria had faced during her encounter with the police is a clear testament to how fragile we are when faced with uncontrollable situations. From this story, we can draw an important lesson about always being prepared for the unexpected, even when it happens at the most unlikely moments. Sometimes, what seems like a harmless action can lead to major consequences, and how we react in tense situations can determine the final outcome. The greatest lesson here is to stay calm and think carefully before acting, because even a small misstep can escalate things far beyond our control.